Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of AWI Pod, a work in progress. I, of course, am your host, Brent Piles, and with me today is my friend and cohort. He is from across the ocean and from the future. He's the ballroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy. Folks, he's moreover than coming back to the Royal Rumble when you were supposed to be out for 8 months, and you're only out for 2 at J. Russell Glenn. Glenn, how you doing?
Spoilers. I'm doing very well, thank you.
That's good to hear. That is good to hear. If you didn't know, this is the...
If there's anybody that listens to this, if anybody that listens to this has your encyclopedic knowledge of Royal Rumbles, then they'll know which one we're talking about.
Yeah, if you don't know, we're here today we're not doing our usual. This is the 1 week a month where we pick a random pay-per-view a month. Well, it was my pick this month, and I went with the 2008 Royal Rumble pay-per-view was the one that I picked. Glenn will get to pick November's choice. This is my pick for October, even though October is rapidly coming to an end. But did you want to talk about the football before we got into that?
Where do we start? Now, upsetting Dan. We was robbed.
I think I don't know if Dan would admit like that last goal should have counted. I don't know if Dan will freely admit that, but I do think Dan, he even said to us that I think Dan would admit that we were probably the better side and we probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
But coulda, shoulda, woulda ain't the way it goes usually. So.
No, but when you consider where there's so many injuries, they ended up with even Gabriel going out. The only sort of player that would have started in our normal back four was old Benny Blanco.
Yeah, I mean,
he was
I think Timber usually always gets a nod too if he's fit. Timber too.
Yeah,
and he played so, which he ended up coming off at the end of the game too. So
yeah. Party was just absolutely magnificent at right back.
He was great at right back, and I don't remember what match it was, but they had one where they put him at right back too, and I think he's better almost at right back than he is in the midfield. And I mean, going into it, I didn't feel really good about him going one-on-one with Luis Diaz, and I don't think Diaz got past him one time. So I mean, partly really showed me there. So.
No, he didn't put one dangerous cross in.
No, he really didn't. He really didn't. No. It was great to have Saka back. As you could see, he was giving that outside play Liverpool fits. Robertson, I think is his name. Main name is.
Yeah. He turned him inside out and tied his guts in knots.
More than a few times. Yeah. He had that man's breakfast, lunch, and dinner that day. And I mean, a great finish by Saka and a great bring back. What a hell of a ball over the top by Benny Blanco to set him up. And that was really the setup of it. If you don't get that ball over the top, there is no goal.
That's right. It was it. Mixed feelings is the final word on it. We could have won it. We should have won it. But happy with a point, considering that them as City are our nearest rivals. We've not lost to either yet this season.
I mean, yeah. Anytime you're facing Liverpool, I think if you can get out with at least 1 point, you're happy. It just left a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth because you felt like we should.
We had it won. Yeah, we had it won.
But what can you do? Like I said, shoulda, coulda, wouldas aren't usually how it goes in sports. So my Chicago Bears coulda, shoulda, woulda won the game this weekend, but lost on a 52-yard Hail Mary at the end of the fucking game. So
did they? Oh,
they sure did. Yes, and
after the good week I had last week.
Yeah, it all fell apart. But that's okay. That's okay. But anyway, let's just transfer from sports to sports entertainment. Let's have a look. At the 2008 Royal Rumble, which took place from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, of course, in New York, on January 27th, 2008, had an attendance of 20,798 and a buy rate of 575,000. This was the first ever WWF pay-per-view to be broadcast in high definition. Glenn, did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. They didn't even mention that. All the things that they mentioned, that wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I think the only thing is you can see there's like a WWE HD thing up in the corner, but other than that, I don't think they mentioned it. Also, this pay-per-view had the WWE debut of Mike Adamle, and it was the 21st Royal Rumble in WWF history. Remember Mike Adamle, Glenn? Yeah, most wrestling fans probably don't. North American people will remember Mike Adamle because he used to play in the NFL and he was one of the co-hosts of American Gladiators, which was a staple.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
I know it was for you guys too, but I think you guys had your own version, didn't you?
Yeah, we had Ulrika Johnson and Justin Fashanu.
Yeah, but it was called
football.
What was it called?
Gladiators.
Because it couldn't have been called American Gladiators, because that wouldn't have made sense.
No, it was just called Gladiators.
But yeah, what I really liked about this was the opening of the pay-per-view where they have like all the guys on a subway car and they start like rolling on the car. I just thought it was really fun and cool. I thought it was a really cool intro.
That intro was what kicked off my memory from the whole show. So I'm going to let the listeners into a secret here. Every week I normally have copious notes about a show, but I'm that confident with this Royal Rumble that I don't need them. As I was watching it, I could remember more and more and more about it.
Fair, that's fair. This is one of my favorite Royal Rumbles ever, too. I didn't watch wrestling for a few years. It was probably from 2004 up until 2008, and I would like sparingly like turn it on and look at it for a little bit, but I wasn't watching it with any sort of regularity up until 2008. And I don't know what made me decide that I was going to start watching wrestling again, but I was like, oh, I know the Royal Rumble's tonight. It's 2008. I always loved the Royal Rumble. So let's order it. Let's watch it. And then ever since then, I've pretty much been hooked back into wrestling. So that's why this show always holds a special place in my heart, as well as the entire build up to WrestleMania 24. I love WrestleMania 24 too. It's one of my favorite shows, which we'll probably review that one day too. So yeah, that's why I chose this show this month. So the first match on the show is Ric Flair taking on MVP. It's a career-threatening match. If Ric Flair loses, he must retire. They just started the whole thing where Mr. McMahon told Ric Flair that the very next time he lost a match, he would have to retire. So MVP, of course, is the one who wants to end Ric Flair's career. Flair even tries to cut like a promo thanking the fans in MSG. But he is cut short when MVP comes out to the ring. MVP is the United States champion at this time, but the belt is not on the line. What do you think about this match?
Again, it's strange that there's two matches on this show that have champions that the belts aren't on the line, and it just seems a bit strange, especially if you've got a stipulation either the belt or retirement. I can understand why they did the retirement angle for what's coming later.
Right.
But I can't understand why they didn't have the belt on the line.
I think this was around the time that like the mid-card belts really started to fall down the ladder in WWE, and they started to really not matter at all anymore. And you can see it here when you've got two. I mean, the mid-card titles rarely even made appearances on pay-per-views in this era. I don't remember a whole lot of Intercontinental Championship or United States Championship matches being on pay-per-views in this era. And maybe if I go back and review them, I'll be wrong. But it just felt like around this time and probably up until a couple of years ago, the mid-card titles meant almost nothing. I think Triple H has done a much better job when he's taken over, making the mid-card belts more important than they used to be. But yeah, at this time, they just really weren't. Guys would have the U.S. title for months and people would just forget because nobody cared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
It was a fine match. I thought it was a good way to get the fans into the show right away because obviously they're going to be behind Ric, being that if he loses, he'll have to retire. So I thought it was a good way to kick the show off.
Yeah. Having not that long ago watched Ric Flair's, in inverted commas, final retirement match against Shawn Michaels. This was MVP. Wasn't, I don't think, the right person for Rick. It seemed Rick certainly worked a lot better with HBK than he did with MVP.
Well, I mean, nothing against MVP, but he doesn't have the ring prowess of Shawn Michaels. Not many.
No, that's true.
So, yeah. It actually looked like MVP won this match. He hit like a big kick in the corner on Flair, and he did get the 3 count. But after the ref started to go down for the 3 count, he realized that Flair's foot was on the rope, so they restart the match.
That was excellent.
Yeah,
because there wasn't any interference. Nobody put his foot on the rope or anything. It was just perfect timing from Ric Flair.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it added something to the match. One thing I took away from this match, and I'm glad that we don't have to hear him anymore, is good God, the coach is the worst at commentary. He is just
exactly. No, he's not good at all.
Like, he's fine as like a pre-show guy or a backstage interviewer. Like, he's entertaining, and I even like him better if he was trying to be a manager or even as a wrestler, like a comedy wrestler. People just beat him up. I think there's a place for Coach on the show. I just don't think it's as a commentator. No, sorry, Coach, but
no, he's not good at it at all.
Yeah, so MVP goes for his finishing move, the playmaker.
Anyway, let's move on.
Rick counters with the figure 4. MVP taps out. And this is one of the very few times I've actually seen Rick win with a figure 4. I haven't seen it very often, you know what I mean? Usually he doesn't win his matches with figure 4.
Yeah.
I even heard him say, people would be like, can I use the figure 4 tonight? Go ahead. I've never won a match with it, but go for it. So, yeah, I mean, a fine match to start the show. We then, I think...
it says, it actually says how little wrestling we're watching in 1998. How even this was a decent wrestling match compared.
Yeah, definitely a different era of wrestling. They also had a match between JBL and Chris Jericho, but we decided we were just going to skip that match because we don't care about it.
I'll say one thing. Can I say one thing about it before we do? Just Chris Jericho being busted open the hard way with the ring post was a bit spectacular.
I'll be honest with you, Gunn. Fast forwarded right through it, so I didn't even see it, and I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, apart from that, it was fast forwardable through.
So, like you said, I remember this pay-per-view. I remembered it vividly, but I have no recollection of that match at all. I forgot that he was even on there until I saw it. But anyway, the next match that we're going to talk about is Edge defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Rey Mysterio. Yes, this one was fantastic. The whole Vicky Guerrero Edge storyline was going. It was in full force at this point. And of course, with the history between Vicky and Rey and Eddie, it makes a whole lot of sense for this to involve Rey. And I always love Rey Mysterio and Edge in the ring together. I think any time you get those two in the ring together, you're going to get magic because they've just got really good chemistry. And there are a couple of guys where I could watch those two wrestle probably 10 times in a row and I wouldn't get sick of it.
I think it's because Edge can wrestle to Rey. Rey is better wrestling big guys, but there's not many big guys can wrestle to Rey's pace.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Brock Lesnar was one. Edge certainly won. And maybe big, but that's about it.
I mean, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of guys. It would be hard for some guys to get in there and work with Rey Mysterio. They have the Edge heads out here too, Hawkins and Ryder, which is funny where you look at where Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder are doing now, and it's just funny to think about that they started as Edge heads. They were kicked out of the match pretty early on, which I thought was nice because that way you didn't get too much interference. Because, I don't mind a little bit of interference, but when you get 2, 3, 4 people interfering, then it starts to become eye rolling. And so it was nice to see them get kicked out early. Up about added to it. What did you think about this on the whole?
I told you, chef's kiss. It was a great match. Even the ending wasn't hooky enough to take it away from the match. They were given plenty of time. It wasn't rushed. There's some great spots. Rey doing what Rey always does against a bigger guy. Edge always doing what Edge does against anybody. Yeah. At this point, at this time, it was just great. That's what to say about it.
I would say in this era, from 2008, probably, and even 2007, but I didn't watch a lot of 2007. From 2007 up until about 2010 or 11, this is where Edge was top of his game. He was the biggest heel and the most hated heel in the company. He was having the best matches. And I mean, you put him in there with Rey Mysterio, like you said, that you're looking for magic to happen, and that's what we saw here. I like the whole Rey Mysterio was on the second rope. Edge gets a real big kick to his right knee, and then he's working on the knee for the match. Looks like Rey is going to get the win after a 619 and a splash off the top rope, but Vicky pulls the referee's leg out after a 2 count. Rey then dodges the spear attempt, tries for a 619, but Vicky gets up on the apron and kind of wraps herself around.
She blocked the 619, which is brave to do.
Yeah, so he hits Vicky instead of Edge, so Rey's kind of like, oh my god, and then he tries to do like a springboard, and then Edge catches him with a beautiful spear for the 1, 2, 3, and like Glenn said, a chef's kiss, because we're going to talk about a couple more matches, but this was the best match on the show, hands down. I could watch those two wrestle 100 times, and I would probably not get sick of it just because they're so good at the ring together. I think they had a tag team, run as a tag team too, which they were an amazing tag team, I bet. Because I want to say they had a.
Oh, I bet they were.
I want to say
Let's go back and look at some of those matches.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So the next one was the WWE Championship match. Randy Orton defending the championship against the Intercontinental Champion, Jeff Hardy. So one of the rare times the Intercontinental Champion challenges the World Champion. But the Intercontinental belt is not on the line here.
Not on the line. Again, the Intercontinental belt. He might as well not have it.
Well, I guess you could go with the old adage of, if I was World Champion, why would I want to be Intercontinental Champion? Yeah, I get this had been building. It's all, the old Jeff can't win the big one. I think Orton had attacked Matt Hardy a few weeks earlier as well. What did you think about this era's version of the Intercontinental Championship belt? What did you think about that version that Jeff had on here in 2008?
I can't actually say I noticed it that much. Until they mentioned it on commentary, I forgot that it was.
So, I mean, I think this is my least favorite Intercontinental Championship belt. They used it from like 1998 or 99 up until I think Cody Rhodes, dashing Cody Rhodes with the mask on. You remember when Cody used to wear the mask? And he got rid of this Intercontinental Championship belt, and he brought back the old white one. I wish they'd bring that one back now, because I like that one better than the Intercontinental Championship belt they have now. But I like the one they have now a hell of a lot better than the one they had in 2008, because this one's fucking god awful.
That's right, yeah. And at least it means something now.
That too, yeah. Meant nothing in this era. They just put it on whoever. Doesn't matter. Surprised to see this match actually started off with a little bit of mat wrestling, which I did not see coming.
No, especially from Jeff Hardy.
Exactly, yeah. Randy Orton you could see, but not Jeff Hardy as much.
But it did take long for him to start bouncing around.
Yeah, I mean, this one was hard hitting. I mean, I like the Ray one better, but this one was really good too. This is also a really, really good wrestling match.
Yeah. Apart from Randy Orton now, this was probably the best version of Randy Orton as well.
Real all-time dickish heel at this point, Randy Orton was, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Easily, as I know, Randy Orton's sort of easily lovable now. Back then, not the case. He was easily hateable. It was a difference.
Hateable, yeah. That's it.
But just like you said, he was just as good then as he is now, but just in a sort of a different facet. You know what I mean? I think that goes to show you how great of an all-around performer that Randy Orton has been his entire career.
Yeah, but it does. With Randy, it's always depended on whether he is actually enjoying what he was doing or not. There are a lot of periods where you could tell that he wasn't enjoying what he was being given to do.
Yeah, and I think here you can tell they told him to go out there and be a dick, and he said, "Oh, I know how to do that. That's easy.
I'll do that one." Yeah,
especially in 2008, I think being a dick for Randy was probably a whole lot easier than it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, Hardy hit Orton with everything he had, but he comes up short again. He goes for a twist of fate, but Orton then counters it into an RKO, which was beautiful.
I tell you, until he got up and moved again, I'd actually forgotten this bump where Jeff does the kick through the bottom rope, and Randy shoots so far back that it looks like he actually breaks his neck on the barrier.
Oh yeah, he got some serious whiplash from that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I know, he really did. Yeah,
it's one of those things of, the referee was obviously saying to Jeff to calm down a bit, give him a bit of time. So the referee got over to check on Randy, and Randy had obviously said, "I will be all right, but just give me a minute."
My fingers are tingly.
Yeah.
Probably something like that. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick, I think Ray Edge is the best match of the night, but this one's really good too. I would tell anybody, just go out and watch this entire pay-per-view because it's really great. But particularly watch the 2 championship matches because they're both really, really good. And then we get into the 2008 Royal Rumble match. They got fucking Michael Buffer out here to do the Royal Rumble introduction. I'm sure that cost him like $1 million.
Yeah, they certainly did. And they kicked it off strong.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
It's the first thing you get after "Let's get ready to rumble" is boom. You know shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then after that, you get the screaming of the ladies, and it's Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
And I know from being a Royal Rumble nerd that these are the guys who were the last 2. They mentioned on commentary a bunch of times too. But these guys were the last 2 in the 2007 Royal Rumble, and now they're starting it off. And I really think if you went back and looked at all the number 1 versus number 2 matchups in the Royal Rumble, this is going to go either in number 1 or at least in the top 3 because this is really great back and forth stuff between 2 of the best to ever do it. So very good
on each other.
I thought this was funny. So the Great Khali comes in at number 3, and he's got to be one of the biggest guys to have some of the worst showings in Royal Rumble history.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And
it didn't last very long.
I was curious of this, Glenn, and so I went back and had a look at the Great Khali Royal Rumble numbers. And do you want to hear some of his Royal Rumble numbers?
Oh, God, yeah.
He was in 9, and in those 9 Royal Rumbles, he lasted a combined 20 minutes and 47 seconds, which is an average of about 1 minute and 90 seconds per Rumble. But he did manage to eliminate 11 people in that amount of times. So here's his official numbers. The 2017 Royal Rumble, he was in for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. This Royal Rumble, 1:09. The next year's Royal Rumble, 1:30. The next year's Royal Rumble, 1:37. The next year's Royal Rumble, 1:17. And then in the 2012 Rumble, Glenn, he really eclipsed it and was in for 7 minutes and 29 seconds. And then in his very last Royal Rumble, the 2014 Royal Rumble, he lasted a whopping 24. Couldn't stay in the Royal Rumble.
What did he get? By the time he climbed over the top rope to get in, he was out again 24 seconds.
Which is insane considering that he's fucking like 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
But
it shows how good a wrestler he was.
Or not how good of a wrestler.
No,
he did manage to wrestle all those years without bending his knees, which is pretty fucking impressive.
Definitely, yeah.
Did you have any highlight moments that you remembered from this Royal Rumble?
Well, it was a lot of highlights. When you've got a Royal Rumble where there is only one person, you go, who the fuck is that? It's not a bad Rumble.
I'm trying to think who the fuck is that moment?
Oh God, what was his name? I can't even remember his name now because I didn't write it down.
Chuck Palumbo, maybe?
No, I know Chuck Palumbo. Chuck Palumbo.
Snitsky?
No, not Snitsky. He was notorious for punting babies
and loving feet.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
There was just one guy. I think they chucked one jobber in there.
Oh, Elijah Burke, maybe?
That's him, Elijah Burke. Burke by name, Burke by nature.
I think he was in ECW at the time, which there wasn't.
Oh,
there was a whole resurgence of ECW in 2008, but it wasn't very good.
No.
Yeah, so Hornswoggle makes his first Royal Rumble appearance, but they're still saying he's the illegitimate son of Mr. McMahon.
Classic. That is classic. Where he just goes straight and hides under the ring.
A la Jerry Lawler in the 1996 Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Same thing. This was also
which JR kept on mentioning.
Oh, did he bring that up?
Yeah, he brought it up quite a few times about Jerry Lawler hiding under the ring.
I kept trying to tune the fucking commentary out because of the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was Cody Rhodes' first Royal Rumble, and I found this to be funny. Do you know who eliminated Cody Rhodes from his first Royal Rumble?
Who was it? I can't remember now. No.
It was Triple H.
Of course it was.
We also got the cool moment of Jimmy Snuka came in at number 8 and then 18, and then at number 19 came out as Roddy Piper, which they got a big pop from the New York fans. And even everybody literally in the ring stopped to watch Piper and Snuka fight each other for a couple of minutes. It was a pretty cool moment, even though we do know that Jimmy Snuka is probably a murderer, allegedly.
Yeah. Both of them a few burgers and pints had gone under the bridge by the time that this Rumble happened.
And Jimmy Snuka had stopped using steroids for about 20 years at that point, so that's why he looked the way he did. Someone actually got disqualified.
Who was that then?
Finlay got DQ'd from the 2008 Royal Rumble.
Oh, of course. I forgot he was actually in it because I didn't actually realise that because he came in early. Yes. I thought he was just in there to save Hornswoggle. I didn't even realise that he was due to be part of it.
I was reading the notes on Wikipedia, and it says that he was DQ'd for entering the ring early and using a shillelagh, which for years, Glenn, the thing about the Royal Rumble was there's no disqualifications, no pinfalls, no countouts. The only way to be eliminated is to be thrown over the top rope. But not this one, Glenn. Not this one. They have
not this one.
Regulations. No shillelaghs. None. Nope, we won't have it. We're not doing it. No. So yeah, there's that. And I think by far what everyone probably remembers about this Royal Rumble is John Cena had sustained, I think, a pectoral muscle injury where he had tore his pectoral muscle off the bone, and he was supposed to be out for like 8 to 10 months or something, but he ended up making it back in 4, and he comes out, and this is a surprise entrant as the number 30 Royal Rumble. And I think this is kind of where they started the surprise of the returning person coming out at number 30. I think he was the first one. And this is honestly my favorite Royal Rumble moment ever because the reaction that he gets from the crowd, people can say whatever they want to say about John Cena, especially in this era that he wasn't over with the crowd, that people hated him. He got everybody was out of their seat when his music hit. The roof blew off that place.
It certainly did. It lifted that roof on Madison Square Gardens that night.
Yeah. It hadn't got that loud in there since Larry Johnson hit that 3-pointer in the Eastern Conference Finals against, I don't remember whom, the Heat maybe, in the NBA playoffs in 1999. That's how loud it was.
I'll take your word for that.
That was a deep cut. Knicks fans will know what I'm talking about, but they're going to be the only ones. Everybody else out there is like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Thomas Bryce knows what I'm talking about. Thomas knows.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, anything else from this Royal Rumble you wanted to talk about?
No, that was it. The Cena coming in at 30 and the end was really, really good. Was one of the better Rumbles.
Yeah, I mean, the final three.
It was good. I'm sure you've got the actual timing of it, but it was an hour and something, wasn't it, for the Rumble?
One. I want to say it's less than an hour. 51 minutes and 25 seconds.
Oh, right. No. But it didn't seem very long for a Rumble.
It doesn't drag.
It flew by. Yeah, definitely. No, it didn't drag at all.
This entire show is a very easy watch. And I say that because there's some stuff that we watch and it's like a fucking chore to get through and it feels like a 2 hour show. It feels like 8 hours, but this one flies right by. The final three are Batista, Triple H, and John Cena. So that should tell you that's some pretty big star power in the final three there. And then it gets down to Cena and Triple H, and then Cena ends up winning by doing the attitude adjustment to Triple H.
I love those two at the end, where Triple H is trying to get the pedigree on Cena, and Cena keeps countering and trying to get the AA on Triple H, and he keeps countering.
Yeah, very, very good ending. This one's up there with one of the better endings as well.
Yeah.
Triple H had the most eliminations with 7. Shawn Michaels spent the most time in the Royal Rumble at 32 minutes. And Shelton Benjamin lasted the least amount of time at 18 seconds. So it was funny because Shelton Benjamin comes in there like a house of fire. He goes in the ring, jumps, just leaps right up to the top rope, knocks 2 guys off the top rope, jumps down, gets super kicked over the top rope immediately. Super kicked right out. So, so all in all, I mean, this show is going to get, if I could give it 3-4 thumbs up, I would. It's going to get 2 thumbs up for me. I highly recommend anybody to go out and check it out if you haven't seen it, because it's a great show.
2 thumbs up from me. As I said, it was memorable enough that I didn't make any notes because apart from not remembering that jobber's name and bits and pieces, as I was watching it, I was remembering it vividly as to what went on.
Yeah, Absolutely. A really good show. Definitely check it out if you haven't. And that's going to be it. Glenn, who do you want to plug before we get out of here?
I'm booking the territory with Dan and Rob doing the first and last of wrestling and their side projects, Unstacking the Territory. The Road to Wembley 1981 for Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, and the most watched wrestling match of all time, 18 million viewers. And other side projects being the Elite Gate Golf. They put the Gator Golf clubs away. They were doing stuff in the clubhouse with silly challenges for Series 2. Series 3 will be
all kinds of shit.
Yeah, Series 3 will be coming up soon after they've finished with Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy for this series. And I'm booking the Tankatory, the life and times of Tank Abbott, and you can go on to X Twitter, look up I'm booking the Tankatory, and get a load of tank facts from them there. And of course,
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's an SJP World Media.
And also check out DDT Wrestling with DC and Doc.
There you go. There you have. Listen and give all those fine folks a follow. And, of course, give a follow to the third member of our podcast team, the Mayor of Canton. He does a meal with the mayor every Wednesday on the Twitter X, where he'll try some sort of fast food thing and give us his thoughts and feelings on it. Hopefully the next one he doesn't like it, because I want to see the mayor fired up for a change. I haven't seen it at all. So I want to see it, Glenn. And, of course, give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all the social media platforms. Just search Thomas Bryce. It's spelled just like it sounds. And, of course, check out the website. It's sportswireradio.org, and hit that listen live button so you can hear many great shows just like ours. And, of course, we're going to have a Crown Jewel preview show on YouTube. By the time you hear this, because this will be out on Thursday, it's going to be out right now for you to watch, because we're going to record it tonight. We're just going to do it live. We're going to do it live tonight on YouTube, even though this doesn't matter because it'll already be done. Yes. But you can go back on YouTube right now and check it out and see who we think is going to win at Crown Jewel this weekend. So that's it. That's all. Well, no, wait, that is not it. And that is not all, because make sure that you check out, of course, I don't know shit, the lifetimes of Psycho Sid. He just unfortunately lost his World Wrestling Federation Championship belt to The Undertaker, which you can check that out now and find out why. It's all fucking Bret Hart's fault, damn it. But it
was.
But tune into the next episode to see if maybe he can get some revenge on
Bret screwed Sid.
Bret did screw Sid. People forget about that. People should remember that. Remember, Bret didn't screw Bret. Bret screwed Sid, damn it. But that is it. That is all. I don't have anything else to say. The only thing left to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.